Pádraig Walsh!
Thank you very much. As Annie said, my name is Pádraig Walsh, and I am a behavioural psychologist. I have a 2-year-old dog that pees on the floor every morning when I come down to the kitchen. I have an 11-month-old son that still doesn't sleep through the night. And I know I haven't touched him in 2 years, but I still have a feeling that at the end of this show, out there, I'm going to be trying to bum a cigarette off at least one of you later on. So you can see this whole behaviour change malarkey is working out really well for me. But you see, that's the thing. Knowing what's good for us and knowing what's bad for us is one thing, but actually showing restraint and changing our behaviour, well, that's something completely different. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I think I know what my fiancé actually knows what I do for a living. I'm nearly sure of it. I mean, we were sitting down on the couch the other night watching Gogglebox. Yeah, Gogglebox, because I tend to outsource things like watching TV when you're the exhausted parents of an 11-month-old baby. So we outsourced our Gogglebox watching, and there was this tall, toned, tanned American motivational speaker on the screen. And my fiancée turned to me and she said, "You see him? You're like the opposite to him, really, aren't you? You're like a demotivational speaker." And I suppose she's right. If Tony Robbins and his ilk can charge $5,000 to help you take your life to the next level, if he can help you to find that inner hero inside you, if he can get you to stand in front of a mirror and repeat affirmations saying, "I am a beautiful person. I am a beautiful person." Well, as your demotivational speaker, I'm here to tell you that the next level is pretty much the same as it is here. Same old shit, different level. You're actually grand the way you are right now. And like the rest of us, you're pretty average looking. But you scrub up well, and you know, you have your moments. So everybody, repeat after me. I'm pretty average looking, but I scrub up well. In fact, this is why I love behavioural research, because we examine things like what can make us more attractive to somebody else. And actually it turns out it's nothing to do with facelifts or Botox or makeovers. All you need to do is find somebody who looks very like you, but who you're ever so slightly better looking than them. So have a look around the room. See who you're hanging out with. See what their motivations are for sitting next to you tonight. So look, this is all behaviour change. It's really, really difficult. And this is the problem with the likes of the Tony Robbins of this world. They make us believe that we have to get to another level, that we feel inadequate unless we really go towards that next level. But actually, we all know that as human beings, we're flawed, and that's grand. We all make mistakes, and that's fine. You know, we skip on spin classes that we've signed up to. We are the only species that I know that will finish off all of the Bounty bars at the end of a celebrations box at Christmas, even though we hate coconuts. You see, we like to study restraint bias in behavioural psychology. Restraint bias says that we are overconfident in our own ability to demonstrate willpower and restraint. And we put ourselves into situations where we test ourselves. We become overconfident and ultimately we fail and we overindulge. Like really, if I'm being honest, I should not go anywhere near the smoking area of Whelan's tonight. But that overconfident hero inside ourselves that Tony Robbins would like you to think about is actually something that likes to go on annual leave quite regularly. That hero inside ourselves, that overconfident hero, is the kind of voice that is in our ear when we're walking around the aisle of Tesco and we see a 24-pack of Stella on half price. Sure, that's savage value. You're making money buying those. That's your beer sorted for the next few months. It doesn't bank on the fact that you'll probably spend the next Tuesday night, after being tired and stressed and emotional and lying on the couch into your 5th can, hugging the dog, sobbing about the injustice that is dog years. I can't believe you're going to be gone 7 times faster than I am. See, that's the problem. We trick ourselves into these things. But these are normal human responses. These cognitive biases are a function of the world that we live in. So we have our restraint bias there. If we were to think about a behaviorally informed approach to things like sex education for teenagers, we wouldn't focus so much on the puritanical biology. We wouldn't focus on what you should do in a cold, rational state. Instead, what we would do for teenagers is tell them that all their wantiness and randiness is going to impact upon their restraint and their decision-making at the point of contact. We should make condoms free and freely available right when they're needed. Now, there's another problem we can solve with behavioral science. Think about street violence, nightclub violence in small town Ireland. Do we really expect people to be rational, reasoned, and show restraint in these types of settings? I mean, we get people into dark, noisy, sweaty nightclubs. We ask them to, as the European Public Health Research Alliance said, compete with sexual competitors. All the while, queuing politely for the bar, queuing politely for the jacks, queuing politely for the cloakroom. And at the same time have the likes of Maniac 2000 or the dance version of the Fields of Athenry blaring in the background. And then expect everyone, when their hearts are racing, when their arousal levels are high, to all emerge from the haze of their nightclub out towards the street and simultaneously realize that they're still in Longford. Of course we're going to see them box the heads of each other, aren't we? When we look at this through a research lens, well, we actually find that it has been studied, again, by the European Alcohol Public Health Research Alliance. And they found that the noisy, fast-paced environment of dance music and the crowded spaces of nightclubs and the overpowering heat were factors when they looked at on-street violence. Now, to counter this, they looked at some places in Europe where towards the end of the night, for the last half an hour, they introduced a slow set. They noticed in these places that public violence and incidents reduced. They noticed that patrons of these nightclubs became softer, became more playful, and dare I say, even more romantic. You saw a split in the population. Half of the people staying for their country and western music, looking for the shift. The other half proceeding to the chipper without a queue to finger their own battered sausage and chips. Sigmund Freud said that Irish people are impervious to psychotherapy. My spider sense tells me that the wise townsfolk of Longford would be impervious to Tony Robbins and his charms. However, add in an old Nathan Carter and Daniel O'Donnell megamix, and that's when you see real behaviour change happening. Thank you very much.